Welcome to today, a very special open seat. I first of all want to say, before we get started, that today I was able to successfully secure our guest, Maria Infazino. Maria is on the open seat today.
Yeah, here I am.
Here comes Maria's story.
Oh, no, not today, folks.
No, it's incredible to me, but we have made it a year.
We have. I can't believe it.
Yeah, and the reason why Maria's on here is because I am the face, Maria is the work of the podcast.
It's true.
Yeah. So I was like, Maria, you have to be on the 1 year anniversary. Come on. It just makes sense. All right. So for the first time, I'm using notes because I have to be a little focused and thank the right people and do the right things. And there's really no one telling their stories. So we're going to do it this way. But normally there's no papers.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just the Holy Spirit entering into the room.
Yeah. And I think you would agree with me, and I think most people who have done the podcast would agree, but there is nothing like being in this room when we're recording. The presence of the Spirit is really alive and well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully that same Spirit comes even though we're using papers today.
We are using papers and a screen.
We're using lots
My
of things
paper
today.
has a little more on it, but we'll get to that.
This is our friendship, too. Usually we talk about something, and then she says, well, I put a little wrinkle in this in some way. So
Yeah, of course.
you all are getting a live view of our friendship, too. So I first want to thank everyone who has listened to the podcast, who has watched the podcast. When people tell stories, I find it very fascinating. And so to find out that, like, we are on people's date nights on Friday.
Oh, absolutely. Who wouldn't want to see that face Friday night?
I apologize. My mug is part of your date night. So thank you to everyone who has listened, liked, shared, commented, because we have learned a lot from you as well. We have been blessed to be able to sit with these people who have openly shared their life, their trials, their struggles, their challenges, and then their moments of greatness and their moments of grace and mercy that they have received from God and others. Actually, getting ready for this podcast, I listened to a number of them because we've been doing this a minute. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so I listened to them, and I just really am in awe that people want to express what they did. So I'm grateful to our guests. I'm grateful to our listeners. And I would be remiss if I did not thank the Diocese of Lansing.
Diocese of Lansing.
Yes, that is our home diocese, and we are grateful to them for their donation. And this is also why I have this paper, so I can make sure I get this number correct. All those who donated to DSA, Diocesan Services Appeal, in the Diocese of Lansing, we applied for a grant, and we received that grant. Shout out to Craig Pohl and Grace Porter for helping us with the process. And we received $1,843.20.
Yeah, and this was an evangelization grant, right?
It correct was. Which means we are actually doing evangelization.
Absolutely.
So it's good news for the church. And statistically, we have seen that this podcast has gone to some places we never dreamed.
Yeah, beyond Adrian.
Yeah, beyond the United States. So we are blessed for being able to do this. We're blessed to the diocese for giving us that grant to help us, because it actually helped fund a lot of our startup costs.
Yeah, some of the bigger costs, like the camera, the microphones.
Our beautiful lighting.
Of course.
All these big costs. And thank you to Holy Family Parish for the other part of that and for believing in us. And I actually want to go off script for a second and thank Maria personally, because she works so hard to promote the podcast, to do the work for the podcast behind the scenes. So any of the technical stuff, uploading, editing, which is a chunk of her time, is all Maria. So I'm grateful that we have been on this project for a year and you have dedicated yourself to it.
Oh, thank you.
She's uncomfortable. That's good. So why don't you tell your version of how the podcast started?
So we had thought that Katie would be a really good voice to have speak on this platform. So we went to this diocesan conference. What was it called?
Global Leadership.
Global Leadership Summit. And so they had some of these big podcasters on there. And we thought, when I say we, is Katie.
No, not Katie.
Katie was there.
I was at the I was at the summit. I was not at the conversation you're talking about.
Let me back up.
Good idea.
So Father Mike had actually talked about this prior to the conference.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Let's talk about the truth.
and then we thought, we have a long car ride to Lansing tomorrow. I bet you we could convince her to do it. So it happened to be at this conference that there's all these big podcasters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when
everyone wrote a book and had a podcast. So
Right.
my book's coming out soon. Just brace yourselves.
So we thought, wouldn't it be grand if we had a podcast and Katie was the host?
Wouldn't it be grand?
We had other plans, though, for this podcast.
We did.
But then we got back to Adrian. We had Mass on the Grass.
That was when we brought the bishop home.
And we brought him to Mass on the Grass.
And people loved it.
Yeah. Selfies and everything with
yep.
the bishop. And then Katie said, okay, I will do it. But
I think I was drinking then because that's
Were you
not,
really?
I don't know all this behind the scenes stuff, but we were having a conversation, Rocio and I, actually a
Yeah.
deeply personal conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And to sum up conversation, she felt as though sometimes I'm a little too sarcastic. I do tend to be a little sarcastic. So we were having a deeply personal conversation. And then I want to make sure I say this accurately. The two brains in the corner, Maria and Father Mike, who have been conspiring about this podcast all along, say, what a great podcast we just had.
yeah.
And if I remember correctly, again, I think I probably was drinking a little. This is also why I quit drinking, by the way, because poor decisions are made and podcasts are formed. It went something like, I'm not doing that. And then it kind of shifted into, okay, if we're going to do that, not the model you suggested, which we're not going to discuss today,
We may.
but I believe it was like, I would do it if people told their stories. Because after that conversation with Rocio, I gained some insight on some things. I think everyone in that group did.
Yeah.
And so that was the only way that was going to be done.
That was our introduction to the podcast and the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, more to come. So we started with this, like, we're just have this idea that we're going to just start the podcast.
Yeah. And we didn't really have an intro. So
Yeah,
we just sat down, wrote one out, and then recorded it.
yeah, we just started.
Yeah, we were as ill prepared as anybody else in this
We
world
had
to
no
do
idea.
anything. Yeah. And people like it. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's how we know the Spirit is present, because we were not,
despite us.
despite our best efforts, God prevailed. That's a t-shirt quote around here.
There you go. Could be our next podcast merch.
Okay. We're done with the merch
Seats and
conversations
shirts.
today.
Seats and shirts.
So it wasn't maybe a few months ago you and I sat down.
Yeah, I think it was about halfway through.
Yeah.
We sit down and discuss what are we actually doing here.
Besides telling people stories, what's happening? We sat down and looked at it, and we looked at numbers.
We did.
Maria, this is where I say, everyone who says, Katie, great podcast, you should tell Maria, great podcast, because honestly,
No.
she does the work. But what you did was break down everything. I was grateful to look at it in numbers like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the numbers are crazy. For me, we have a big contingent in like Cincinnati, Ohio.
Uh-huh.
So shout out to whoever's in
Yeah.
Cincinnati, Ohio, because
Thanks for the listens.
it's interesting to me. Detroit, another place. We have people in the Philippines who listen to us,
Yeah.
people in Venezuela,
Yeah, India.
India. Yeah. Or watch us. I shouldn't say just listen, but watch. We are so grateful for all of that. And that is what happened with the podcast. It has been a journey, and one that I thought would have died after 6 episodes.
You had hoped.
Maybe still do. No, just kidding. I actually hope that everyone understands through this podcast that it is a great privilege to sit with people and have them tell you stories of their deeply personal walks. And one of the craziest things is that people tell us all the time, I never thought I was going to talk about that.
Well, and two, I think we should mention that everybody who's been on the podcast, there's only been one person that volunteered for it.
Yeah, so we should also tell you that we actually sit down sometimes and talk about things, and we do pray. People may not believe that, but we do pray, and we even pray for this specific podcast as to who we think God would like to invite to the open seat. And that's literally what it is. The other part is part of the origin of the open seat is from that graphic design by Salt and Light, who actually washes people whose feet Jesus would wash. And usually it's the opposite ends of the spectrum. So you would have easily would be like both sides of the political parties.
Yeah.
However, there is one design that is an open seat.
Yeah. Nobody's sitting there.
Correct.
But Jesus is there, ready
Correct.
to wash the feet.
I think the other part that I really approached you about was that the fact that the churches are starting to fill up again. We're starting to get new neighbors in our presence. And we're not always inclined to move in. I don't really want to know who my neighbor is. I like where I've always sat. I don't want to move. And so always sat next to me, and now you're taking that seat.
Yeah.
Well, so one of the things that was heavy on my heart is the fact that we need to have open seats. We need to be able to bless other people and other people bless us with their company.
Right.
And if we're so closed off and say, well, this seat is not open, then we have a problem. And the amount of parishioners who have learned something about someone that they did not know or want to have a conversation with someone that was on the podcast because they're intrigued by them
Right.
is probably the greatest fruit that could have come from this podcast.
Yeah, and these are already people who are within our parish. It's just opening that invitation to go deeper.
They had no idea that they were those people. So on top of evangelizing in the world and in the country, we're also right here in little old Adrian, the corner of the diocese, being able to evangelize our own people and say, this person sits next to you and you didn't know who they are, but now you do. So that has been a great force of the podcast too. Right. So we do pray, who should we invite to the open seat? And some of the names that we are talking about are some of the oldest in the parish. We have some really great guests coming forward.
We do.
And we have some young voices to be heard and the future of the church. And so I don't know if we really want to quite say names, but I think next season is going to be very interesting.
I think it's going to be pretty diverse.
Very. Speaking of diversity, one of the things that I think we could work on a little bit better is somehow finding out how we could make a bilingual or Spanish component to the open seat.
So we had asked some questions to our guests who came on. And of course, one of those multiple visitors.
I should tell you, Maria actually sent out this survey, and I don't know the results of this. So we're all, much like when they colluded to get this podcast going, we're colluding behind my back to get this 1-year anniversary episode up and running.
So one of our guests on the podcast is Father Mike.
Yes.
So he was sent this survey.
Uh-huh.
One of the things he mentioned, wouldn't it be great if Katie could do a podcast with a Spanish speaker?
Wouldn't it?
It would be challenging. He did say that.
It would be challenging.
But also powerful for our parish.
Would be challenging. I'm not against it. I sometimes sit at tables where I have no idea what is being said.
Right.
My only concern about doing that is that I would like to do the person justice. If they're willing to come on and express their story and express their challenges and struggles and grace and mercy, then I want to do that justice. And I am concerned as to whether or not that could be done. So that is something we've been praying about and continue to pray about. Nothing is written off. And actually, on the opposite end, everything is being explored as to how to get that done.
Yeah, because we have no idea what could unfold here.
No. And I would say some of the people who mean the most to me in this world right now, I cannot communicate effectively with, in my opinion, to even be able to tell them how much they mean to me.
Even just a Spanish-speaking person to come on and tell their story in Spanish to minister to our community. But also, it would also be wonderful for people who are maybe only English-speaking, for things to be revealed to them through other people's stories. And in the other way around as well. So all the podcasts that we've done so far are in English.
There is an option for Spanish subtitles.
Yep, you can put subtitles.
And I have heard from some people in the Spanish community that they are actually listening or reading the subtitles. So they are watching podcasts and they're very much engaged in who they're sitting in the open seat with. When we were talking about this, Fiorella came to mind, right? Because her podcast was very interesting to me because she says she does not speak English well. I argue differently about a lot of things on that, and I know she had an impact on people who you would never expect. We tried it with her, and the spirit is in control. So next season, who knows? Nothing is off the table ever because God is in control.
So when we did our first episode, it was on October 11th of last year.
Yes.
Which is also
the feast of Saint Pope John the 23rd.
So Father Mike sent Katie a quote.
Yeah, so this is another reason why I have this paper, so I can get this quote correct, because I don't have it memorized. But it says, "I have looked into your eyes with my eyes. I have put my heart near your heart. In this world of ours, every believer must be a spark of light, a center of love, a vivifying ferment for the mass. And it will be that all the more as in the depth of his being, he lives in communion with God." And when we came across this quote, we're like, oh yeah, this fits the open seat really well. We're not changing anything. We're not changing an intro to change into this or anything. But this quote really sat with us and has not left. I pray with it regularly when we're praying for this, especially because I have put my heart near your heart, and literally people put their hearts on their sleeves when they're in this room.
Well, and how many people, when we end the podcast, they say, I never thought I would share that. Our faith, although we might share it with others, we keep things really close to our heart. And so when you're speaking with people, they share with the world things that are very close to their heart.
Yeah, the amount of people who have, and actually I should tell you what we should do is keep the microphones rolling after the podcast is done. Because there's a lot of gold that comes out of conversation.
Yeah, most people, a lot of what they say is after the podcast, actually. It's kind of like the podcast is a warm-up.
Yeah, but they do tend to bear their soul, and for that, I am grateful. Because I think sometimes people forget that this does go out to the general masses. Like when we're in this room, it's just a conversation.
Right.
But this is for consumption for any. And so they will share things and then they don't ever regret it. There's a couple of guidelines we give, and one of them is if you say something and you don't want it in the podcast, including, I believe, our own Father Michael Newman has said some things that that shouldn't be in there. We have edited a little bit.
Yep.
At the person's request, but it's raw.
Yeah, the editing that I do is very small things.
Yeah.
There's no big pieces of content that are taken out. Their story remains their story.
Yeah. So this quote just really, and we are called to be a light in the world by virtue of baptism. And so I can honestly say all the people we have sat with have been a light in my life. These times really aren't the greatest some days, just impersonal and in the worldly things that are going on. But I have left a better person for being in their presence.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. Even when I'm here, when we're recording, but then I listen to it again and again while editing it, and still things touch me that I'm like, oh, geez, I really didn't catch that the first time. And sometimes it's because I'm messing with the sound or whatever. But I think just like everybody else listens to it and they get something from it, they become beacons for other people. I think people downplay their faith and how much faith they have, but then they can see it in other people reflected back.
And the common thread, I think, that runs through most of this is people feel like I'm not good enough or I don't have a story. And I think when people listen to it, it's, oh no, I guess I do.
Yeah.
That has been a really key instrument in us.
Well, and especially now with everything going on, just having faith and showing up week after week is extraordinary in and of itself.
And the fact that we had no clue what we were doing let me just give you an idea of what we've come from to what we are, okay? So we ordered equipment. Maria, God bless her, did a lot of research on this. And
Not enough.
never enough. And then we just took over her office. And this has even changed from the original to where we are now.
Yeah, it changes every once in a while.
Yeah. Okay, we had no merch, so now we get shirts and mugs. We had no plan. We had it was just God bless Victor and Kathy, because it was kind of like, hey, we have this idea, we're gonna do this podcast. You want to come in and tell your story? And sure. And so I will tell you, because I approached them after praying, and they're dear friends. And so I am so blessed that my friends actually trust the crazy ideas I have, because that was a crazy idea. So when I think back to those early days, like, hey, you want to come record on Wednesday evening at 7:00? And I'm like, you're brave. Because we don't know what's happening.
Right.
But now we still don't know what's happening, but we're a little better.
We'll see.
I'm hearing your stories coming.
Well, we're not today.
Listen, people, if you'd like to hear Maria's story, just comment Maria's story in the comments. And
Let's do this.
We will.
Let's do this. If you want to hear Katie Love's story, comment Katie Love.
Yeah, we'll see who wins.
Yeah. I think I know who, just like the dunk tank.
Give me some likes, people. Maria's story, please.
Hashtag love story.
Okay, T Swift. Anyway, so now comes the surprises.
Yes. So our goal is to have everybody
That is our goal.
on the podcast.
I hope I live long enough.
We often get asked how to prepare for the podcast.
Yes, we do.
And-
And don't prepare.
And the answer is probably it's freeing yet frustrating, right?
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to find out. But anyone who we have, because she's got surprises, people, you are just as buckle up as I am right now. But anyone who we have said don't prepare, they're like, and then they get in here and the Spirit takes over, as we've talked about many times. And it's real.
Yeah.
It goes. We don't have any control. Yeah. Great. Go ahead.
So we did ask for advice.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So what can you offer to future guests who want it? Because it's not like a mystery. It's really low key, actually. Yeah. Usually we try to record on Saturdays
We do.
with less distractions. Sometimes it's not always possible.
I got to tell you, I don't like this seat. I just want to tell people, like, I have a whole lot of respect for you, because we tell people, one of the things we tell them is we're having a conversation.
Right.
The camera's there. We're having a conversation. But, man, I did not realize how hard it is not to just be, like, looking in the camera.
Well, but I don't go on the podcast.
No, you don't.
So this is a whole
Should have
new-
put you in this seat where
the hot seat.
Yeah, the hot seat.
Let's talk about the hot seat. We got to get that in
Later.
there. So we asked past guests, what advice can you offer to future guests? And it was surprisingly almost all the same.
Oh.
Yeah. So relax and act as if it were a normal conversation. Trust the Spirit and Katie.
That's a big compliment, but God bless you all.
Be honest, be yourself, but most of all, be blessed.
Ah,
That was from Victor Solis.
I love it. I love it.
So often we hear from the listeners feedback from the podcast.
Not enough, though, so we could use some more feedback.
Yeah, like actual concrete feedback. And you can leave feedback on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on YouTube comments. Yeah, we do offer it on YouTube as well. You can pretty much find it anywhere.
Yeah, and if you think we're junk, please tell us. We can't get better unless you tell us.
We would love any suggestions you have, what you'd like to hear.
If you'd like Maria's story, you can say Maria's story. Also, if you'd like Maria to host it, say Maria host. I mean, there's a lot of options.
No, that's not my gift. So we got to hear back from the guests themselves.
So these are guests who now understand more from doing the podcast.
Yeah, so they've recorded the podcast.
Yeah.
They went out.
Yeah.
Maybe they listened to the podcast. Maybe they've shared it.
Yeah.
And often they hear back from people who have listened to the podcast. And so they said, it strengthened my belief that the Holy Spirit is alive and well. And another one is, it gave me an opportunity to share my faith story in a meaningful way and to connect to people I wouldn't have otherwise reached.
And I would encourage you, if you don't, to do so. If somebody has said something that makes an impact on you, tell them. Because, I mean, it's the whole flower funeral theory, right? Like, we only tell people how much they mean to us after something has happened.
Mm-hmm. And then Ariane, who is also on the podcast,
Yeah.
she said, it reminded me how important it is to testify about God's work in my life. So revealed some evangelization opportunity for her.
And I've seen her bring new people to church.
Oh, yeah. I felt self-conscious about telling my story, but many people have told me how well and inspired I made them feel. So when you are invited to the podcast, know that it does impact people.
It does.
And you have something to offer somebody.
It does. I actually ran into someone who's recorded their podcast at the grocery store, like just shortly after they had done it. And one of the things they said is, before the podcast, they thought they didn't do a lot. Mm-hmm. They didn't know a lot. But after the conversation, they realized that, in fact, wasn't true. And I think sometimes just blurting it out helps you understand things a little bit better.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our brain processes better when we talk about it. Okay.
Is that all you got for me? Because that was not that difficult. And I know you.
It wasn't. It wasn't. But also, there's some more that we haven't gotten to
Wait,
yet.
There's
but
more.
Wait, there's more.
You too can have a jet ski holiday. Jet 2 holiday, whatever it is.
So Katie has a great gift of putting people at ease so the atmosphere is comfortable. Great job. Don't give up, Katie Cat.
Thanks, Maria. Hi, miss.
Okay. The second largest impact have been on our recording of the hot seat and how receptive and responsive people are, not only to our answers, but also Katie and my banter. And that's, of course, from our one and only
Father Michael E. Newman, OSFS.
Kudos to Katie for her interview skills.
They're so dearing right now.
You are very good at interviewing people. This is why you're usually in the seat and not me.
This is so uncomfortable.
And then one thing we can talk about
Uh-huh.
that was also put in here. I eagerly await the future production of...
Wait. The
Judgment Seat. Let's talk about hot seat and then Judgment Seat.
Let's talk about hot seat. Okay, so the hot seat, people have submitted some questions. So the hot seat, Father Mike often prepares and comes with very good knowledge. I often don't see those questions ahead of time. So the hot seat really was intended to give people answers to questions most people wouldn't want to ask. And how do you think the hot seat has been doing overall?
Very well. Some of our best podcasts are the hot seat.
Is it content?
It could be. I mean, they're questions people are asking. So it's things that people want to hear.
But we could use more questions.
We could use more questions.
I'm going to put an appeal out. I think we should try to turn up the heat in the hot seat.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get Father Mike to sweat. So send him your questions. I don't care what they are. Just send them. Well, send them to us, and then we will ask
don't send
him
them to Father Mike.
No, don't. No.
And don't approach him after Mass and give him a question.
No.
He will lose it.
Yes, trust us. He has said
Conveniently.
that. He has said that. And he actually is not really a part of Open Seat. It's you and I. So if you have comments, questions, or concerns, they should be directed appropriately because he oftentimes either is occupied with something else or has no idea what we're doing.
So if you have questions that you want to go on the hot seat, we have a form online, and that can be submitted anonymously. You don't have to put your name. You can. But that's holyfamilyadrian.org/podcast.
Okay.
You can find also all of the podcasts we've done, links to go listen to it on your podcast player, and then also to submit questions. You can also submit comments, suggestions on there as well. You can email us at podcast@holyfamilyadrian.org. And then feel free to comment on the YouTube video. You can comment your questions there. We'll see it there.
Father Mike is on regularly because of the hot seat. But I would like to say that we would not like to put people on a second time until we've gotten through inviting everyone to the open seat one time. So if you have an idea of who would be good in the open seat that we could pray for, then submit their name, absolutely.
Yep.
But I do know that some people want to hear an extended version of some of the people we've already had on, including Father Mike. And the reality is we want everyone to get to know each other. So we're always taking names, but to get through everyone first is a priority instead of inviting people to the open seat.
That's correct.
Yeah. Oh, the hot seat.
Submit your questions. So now we can talk about the judgment seat. Do we want to go there?
You do. Maria's story.
Let us know what you think about the judgment seat. So the judgment seat comes from, it's kind of, I think that truly is kind of like an insight to things that we discuss here, challenges that maybe we're faced here.
Yeah.
And Katie has something to say about it.
About the judgment seat. This was the origin
It was.
of the podcast.
It really was.
For you and Father Mike.
Uh-huh. So the thought is there could be little snippets. These would just be like, 5 minutes.
Oh, I hope not even that long. They're essentially tangents. You would like to know my inner thoughts.
Well, we all know your thoughts here. It's just getting them out there to the world.
Comment Maria's story.
Comment judgment seat below if you would like to hear an episode of the judgment seat.
Keeping in mind, God only created one of me for a reason.
These would be short. Wouldn't take much time at all. We could just turn these on at staff meetings.
No. But if anyone would like to go to a staff meeting for me, you're more than welcome. So is there anyone that we did not invite to the open seat that you think we should?
I don't have certain names in mind, but we talk about how diverse our parish is, and I don't think that's just with country of origin, but it could be generations. It could be somebody who has an incredible story, but we just don't see them for whatever reason.
One of the people who I'm looking at and praying for in the next season is not even Catholic.
Yeah.
It's someone who has faith, but is not of Catholic origin and is deeply committed to helping the community in many ways and is connected to the parish in many ways that people would not suspect. So I think the seat is available not just for Catholic people.
Yeah.
But I think people who have a story to tell. So I would like to say in season 2, we're going to look in some of those directions.
Yeah.
Because anyone who's come through OCIA recently has said they have come because someone invited them. Rarely, and there are a few, but rarely do we get somebody who just said, oh, I like the decoration of the church or something of that nature. They have come because there has been a personal invitation along with walking with that person.
Right.
You can't just invite them and then be like, come to church and then don't talk to them. That doesn't work well. And so in keeping this in mind, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but what if somebody sits in that seat and then they decide to come to faith through sitting in that seat?
Yeah.
So we're going to look at some other people to sit in the seat and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. There's ministries at our parish that we do alongside people outside of our parish.
Yeah. Actually, many of our ministries
Yeah.
have had to actually go to other churches and denominations and receive help. But it's a privilege to be able to say to someone like, hey, would you ever consider coming on the open seat? Because it is blind trust. Upfront and honest, the Spirit's going to take control. You can come in with preconceived notions. Please don't come in with notes. But the Spirit will take control and you will then talk about whatever. And some people I don't know that well and have come to learn who they are. Some of my greatest friends, I have learned so much more. So the seat is a learning tool for all of us. So that's one group of people that I would look for to join us in the seat. Anybody else you're thinking of?
Yeah, maybe some young people in our faith formation program.
That would be good.
It would probably be a very short episode.
Depending on who it was.
That's true.
I have to tell you, I think one of the most profound episodes really was Shaina Ramirez's podcast.
Yeah.
The way she has reverence for her faith and also the way she describes the day of her quinceañera. Her grandpa always said he would be there to dance with her. And she held on to that very tightly and danced with the picture of him and went to the cemetery because she asked before her quince so that he would feel present at the ceremony was very profound.
Yeah, and I'm always amazed at our faith formation kids. I have the privilege of taking photos at like First Communion and different sacraments.
Yeah.
And I think you do an amazing job setting those kids up to receive their sacraments, because when they go up there, they know what's going on. Like, they're not confused. And I'll never forget, it was after a First Communion, and it was a regular faith formation class. And you were asking catechist and other kids if they wanted to share about their First Communion. Mm-hmm. And there was one girl that came up and was talking about receiving her First Communion, mm-hmm. about receiving Jesus. Mm-hmm. And she broke down in tears. It was so powerful for her. Mm-hmm. And I think so often we can underestimate the amount of faith that our kids have.
Yeah.
But Jesus says to have faith of a child. And I think a lot of our kids here at Holy Family have some, maybe their story's not developed yet necessarily, but they do have profound faith that I think we can learn from and we can model after.
Yeah, I will tell you, I'm blessed. And people tell me regularly, you do great work. And my response is always, I work with the best. And it is because I am saddened that more people have not invested in our youth in the parish, because they're the future, mm-hmm. but also because they're amazing.
They're amazing.
They are amazing. What these kids have hopes and dreams of doing, mm-hmm. where they have come from, what is going on in their lives. It's amazing. And if you have not had a conversation with the youth in the parish, mm-hmm. you are missing out.
And God prepares generations for what's to come, right? Just like you and I and everybody listening, we were made for a time like this. Mm-hmm. And I look at our youth, and maybe we don't have a ton of kids here. We do have quite a bit of kids, and quite a bit of kids have signed up mm-hmm. this year. Mm-hmm. And I feel like every year mm-hmm. it gets bigger and it gets bigger. And there is something happening. God is at work. And it's very clear to me, because these kids, mm-hmm. man, God is preparing them for something amazing. And I know I want to be a part of supporting that in them.
I'll just say it again. I'm blessed. It's only through God's work that we are where we are.
Yeah.
And I will throw a shout out. We have some of the best catechists who do a wonderful job. And one of the things that we have intentionally focused on, for right or wrong, is relational ministry. That these kids matter not just in these four walls, but in life. Mm-hmm. And the amount of catechists who have supported these kids in things that they participate in band, in sports, in drama, I can't begin to tell you what a difference that makes in a kid's life.
Yeah. And even look at prayer partners that's been going on.
Yeah, many of the Adrian Dominican sisters, honestly, have said things like, wow, that's a really interesting kid, or I had no idea. And I have told them for a very long time, I work with the best. And they got to see it when they got to work with them. And they are praying for them and have prayed for them and will continue to pray for them. And prayer partners with our confirmation students, it's amazing to me that this, primarily it's an older generation mm-hmm. connecting with the younger generation. And it's amazing the comments that come out of that and the relationships that are formed.
Yeah, well, we're a community, and we're, even when we talk about different generations, I think, and when we talk about kids, you can say, well, I don't have kids, but don't underestimate your impact, because a lot of the people you have as prayer partners, some of them are elderly, but mm-hmm. they still have something to give and to offer, and mm-hmm. these kids just eat it up.
And there's a real epidemic in this world of loneliness, mm-hmm. and these kids grew up with that.
Yeah.
And so they may take a little coaxing, but they will give you 10 times what you ever give them. And it's amazing to me that I can go to a football game and kids run up and are like, Miss Katie, because I'm probably one of the most uncool human beings on the face of the planet. And yet it's, Miss Katie, I love you. How are you? And a hug. And I'm like, okay, but that's your friend. You're really going to do that? And they do. And so I'm going to tell you, if you invest in the future of the church, which is the children, they will give you back what you ask and more.
And you look at what they're faced with electronics and with their phone, and we're talking about the loneliest generation. They have a purpose, and that purpose lies in serving God. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And you see that in the confirmation kids as well. Mm-hmm. Man, they know that they're loved, that they have a mission.
Lupita, she talked about it, right? Like She wants to do things in the church. Adults have stifled her.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Yeah, judgment seat. I mean,
Oh,
here we
boy.
go.
No,
People, comment below.
Maria's story. So we should put some young voices on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have had something. They talk about Lupita and Shaina, which are really inspirational. But I'm just wondering, even younger maybe.
Yeah. The thing
I don't
is,
know what that would look like.
We've talked about that. And we've had some informal discussions with some kids.
Uh-huh.
And they're about it. I think it would require a few different kids on one episode.
Yeah, and it might look different.
That's the hard part, right? Is difference.
Yeah.
Is looking different okay than what I'm used to? That's the question. But I think you're right. I think the way they explain things to me sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I think Maria's voice. Maria's story.
Katie. We just have to find a host if you're willing.
That is the caveat that was thrown out there. I have to approve of the host. So I'm working on finding someone.
Uh-huh. Oh, you are?
Yeah.
That's great news. So
Isn't it?
we can expect that maybe in season 2.
Probably season 42. Hope we're all still alive to hear it.
Well, I have to ask because, I sit and I listen to all the questions. There's a lot of great questions. I think everybody could agree. But frequently, one of the questions you ask that I would like you to answer is, if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
I'm not sure how this is going to come out, so bear with me on this. But the best piece of advice I would give my younger self is that it's okay to plant trees that you're never going to sit under. I think when I was younger, and I think a lot of younger people now, are scared to do things because there may not be a future in that. Or others tell them there's not a future in it. And I think of the trades being one of them. I didn't want to go into that, but I know that was not pushed when I was in school. And those who did were looked down upon. And so now I look and they're flourishing, right? But I look at some of the things that I wanted to do, and people weren't so, it won't happen. Don't do it. Nobody's going to go for that. And that's okay, but I still should have done them. Because now I'm not doing them, but I'm doing things that other people tell me I shouldn't do. And things are happening. And perhaps not in the way that I want them, and perhaps not in the way others envisioned, but they're happening. And so it would be just that. Don't be afraid to do something somebody tells you isn't going to work out.
Yeah.
Because you might be planting a tree for somebody else to sit under.
Yeah.
That would be
Beautiful.
it. How about you?
I would say that it's okay to fail. And it's okay for other people to fail. And I think failing leads to creativity. It allows us to go beyond what we're comfortable with, and it allows us to stretch ourselves and grow. And I think failure can be really hard, especially now when we have all the information at our fingertips and we think we shouldn't be failing. But I think that also stifles us from being creative and thinking outside the box.
I think failing also prevents us from finding God's path and our own.
Yeah.
If I fail, usually I know that something was not correct. I wasn't doing exactly the plan that I needed to do. And I often think of the church as a safe place to fail, or should be. Should be. It's not, but it should be. Because where there's unconditional love, why would that be wrong?
Yeah. And, we're talking about kids being involved at the church. They're not going to do it perfect. It's all growing. We all have to grow together. And just like Victor, he said, I was asked to do it. Somebody saw something in him. And it also happened to be a way he could serve God. But he said, I didn't know how to play guitar. I didn't know how to sing, but here he is.
Senior professional. Yeah. Looking back on this year, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's been a whirlwind.
It's been a year. And I don't mean it in a light like, oh, wow, but more like, oh, wow. The impact people have had on people, the fact that we are evangelizing from Adrian to Venezuela, to the Philippines, to India. But I just sit in awe of what God has done with a conversation that happened in someone's backyard.
Yeah. that crazy? Well, and then we talk about people who might want to come on the podcast a second time.
Yeah.
But should that be necessary? Because the questions that aren't asked in the podcast, those are the questions, and you seek that person out. Hey, I saw you on the podcast. This really touched me. Or, hey, I have a question about this. How did you end up dealing with that? And then continuing those relationships in our parish and building an amazing community through that.
Yeah, this is just a starter. And those conversations should continue amongst people, and perhaps not even just, oh, I watched your podcast, but maybe someone sitting next to me struggling with something, and I say to them, listen, like, this person talked about this. The amount of people who study deeply their faith, who have talked about that on the podcast, are so impressive to me. When I think of like Dale getting up in the morning at 3 o'clock in the morning and sitting there and reading and praying, or Justin Mazer studying Fulton, Sheen, and Chesterton. And I also think in terms of that, what the next generation will look like when they've seen their parents pray. And that was one thing Shaina Ramirez said, was that her witness is her faith that her dad has. She sees him praying in front of the Virgin. She gets a text message that says, hey, I'm praying for you. Here's a prayer for the day. And those are very simple, practical things that can be implemented that could change somebody's life.
Right.
And, you know, and you could even do that with your friend. There are people in this parish who send prayers to people daily. I receive them. There are people who send positive messages to each other, or just, hey, I'm praying for you. And even on Flocknote, you can submit a prayer request and people can pray for you.
Yeah.
And there's the prayer chain. And things are happening here that, you know, I reiterate, despite our best efforts, God is doing good work. And I don't know, when we were talking about this whole 1 year anniversary thing, it really got to me because the fruits are just magnified beyond what I thought they could be.
Yeah.
And I was hoping this thing would be killed in 6 weeks. And it's not. It's probably gone 4 heads since we talked about that. But it has been an honest blessing to be able to sit down and hear people share what they have shared with us. And the listeners.
Yeah.
And the viewers. To know that people trust strangers enough to share what they have without looking back. And we've had conversations from suicide to immigration to family struggles to I quit my job and I got no direction. Whoa. Whoa.
Well, I think some people share their stories despite, I'm going to be embarrassed, despite, oh my gosh, because they do know it's going out to everybody. They still are a witness of God's love for them, that they're willing to share that with us and with the world.
That's true. And we've learned so much. We've learned
We have.
the difference between a sister and a nun.
We have. I love
That was very popular. We have learned what religious communities are like. We have learned what the vow of marriage is. We have learned reconciliation and the importance of it. We have learned so many different things.
How God uses people.
And how to live faith well. So this year has just been, yes, a whirlwind, but maybe one of the greatest blessings I've ever had. And so I, again, want to thank everyone who has shared. I want to thank everyone who has listened and watched. I am equally grateful for the Diocese of Lansing for stepping up and giving us this grant. But I also really want to thank you, Maria, for giving your time, talent, and sometimes treasure to helping make this thing succeed. Because I'm glad people got to see you on the microphone, and I know you want to hear more of Maria's story. But, I mean, you put in a lot of work to make things happen. And I am grateful that you were along on this wild ride that started in a backyard.
Well, and I want to thank you, Katie, for agreeing to do this despite not wanting to. And I think there's going to be a lot of good things to come because of your talents to interview people, to bring out the best in people. And I think, yeah, it's going to be a good season 2.
Buckle up. That was a long one. That was good. Some serious editing on that. Maria's story's coming.
No, I think Katie's story's coming.
Gotta find the person. Next person who dies from the parish, I'm gonna say they were gonna be the one who I would have done it, but unfortunately, oh, that was good.
What you had to say was good.
Actually, you shared a lot of those things. Your story's gonna be intriguing. Now people are gonna want it. We want Maria's story. Hashtag, give it to me.
Big love story.
Baby Love doesn't have a story.